To be honest, Alex, and everyone, if you've listened to the Make It Rainy podcast I do with Sean, those pets can probably pick better than I can. So, you know
you
what?
You and me both, Zach. You and me both.
You got to be honest in this business. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Welcome inside Dahlberg Arena, everybody. The Montana Grizzlies hosting the Zootown Classic, just about 35 minutes away from tip-off. The Grizzlies taking on UC San Diego tonight. Grizz handling it business as usual, just kind of going into it. A lot of injuries, but they're starting to get healthy. We'll see how it all goes tomorrow. It's going to be quite the game. Kickoff at noon on Root Sports, and we'll have all the action both pre-game on Wake Up Montana and post-game on Montana right now.
Well, both of these teams, they have lights-out defenses in terms of scoring. First and second in the conference, both top 5 in the FCS. Cats allowing just under 12 points a game. Grizz allowing just over 13. It's
a little bit of a sloppy showing at times against Sacramento State last week. They're trying to bounce back off a loss, their second loss in the last 3 weeks, as they take on Idaho in the battle for the Little Brown Stein. Welcome inside Dahlberg Arena, everybody. The unofficial start to the Grizz and Lady Grizz seasons is here as they get underway with the maroon-silver scrimmages behind me. The ladies just ended in a 46-46 tie, which kind of feels wrong for basketball. A crazy game in this one. 57 first-half points, and then the rain starts to come down at halftime. Only 7 points in the second half, but it is Hamilton who wins this one by a final of 44-20. Welcome to sports, everyone. We're officially in a basketball season, but that doesn't stop some transfer portal battles between the Grizzlies and Bobcats. First, some big news for the Grizz today as a defensive star took a page out of Jordan Belfort's book and said, you know what, I'm not leaving. His name is Justin Ford, the Louisville transfer, tweeting today he will stay one more year in Missoula. He was the Big Sky's newcomer of the year, and his 9 interceptions, the most of anyone across Division I football this year. Ford had an eye-popping 8 straight games with a pick, and he was also a first-team All-American, and he helped seal a win over Montana State in the Brawl of the Wild with a blocked field goal return for a touchdown. There was also some news on the offensive side of the ball for the Grizz as they scooped up a Mountain West quarterback from the transfer portal. Former San Diego State quarterback Lucas Johnson announced his commitment to the Grizz late last week. He helped lead the Aztecs to a 12-2 overall record this year, a spot in the Mountain West title game, and a win in the Frisco Bowl over UTSA. Of course, Bobby Houck's hoping it's not the only team Johnson leads to Frisco. Last year, he threw for just over 1,400 yards, 12 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. He also had 181 rushing yards and a rushing touchdown. He only has 1 year of eligibility left, and he now becomes the 4th quarterback who will challenge for the open quarterback spot, with Cam Humphrey just finishing his final year in Missoula. And then for the Bobcats, of course, we all know Montana State head coach Brent Vigen's connection to North Dakota State. That's been established. But over the weekend, his ties to Wyoming were on display as he added a QB from the portal himself. Former Wyoming quarterback Sean Chambers announced on Twitter he's going to head to Bozeman and reunite with his former offensive coordinator. Vigen, of course, served in the role down in Laramie from 2014. Chambers started the first 7 games this year for Wyoming, including the win, ironically, over Montana State in the first week of the year, but then he lost the starting job to Levi Williams about halfway through the season. Started at least 1 game in all 4 years that he spent in Laramie. 3 of them ended by injury. He has 2 years of eligibility left. Of course, the question is, it's a packed quarterback room already. They got Butte America's Tommy Millott in there, so we'll see where he fits into that equation. All right, we're going to jump to some high school hoops now. A little crosstown action tonight in Missoula. Big Sky and Sentinel facing off. Let's show you the highlights. We'll start with the boys as Big Sky trying to get a big win, and we'll see how it went here. Watch this, though. Chase Williams, Peyton Stevens. That started the game, 2-0 Sentinel, and the crowd was loving it. And then Big Sky, they'd respond, though. They were unfazed. Little outlet pass. Eamon Higgins with a 3, got the nice little Sally, and he answers the opening bucket with style as Big Sky takes the 3-2 lead early. All right, let's go to the second quarter now. Big Sky on defense, a steal by Josiah Quaresma, just gets the layup to go ahead of the oncoming defender. 24-20 at the half, Sentinel in front, and then the second half, both teams battling. Peyton Stevens, Riley Allen underneath. Spartans up by 11. They go on to win this one 60-54. All right, let's go to the girls' game now. As Big Sky, could they prevent the sweep taking on the Spartans? Watch this. Cadence Couture with a little floater in the paint. That was pretty. Cuts the deficit to 12. They would hang around, though. Watch this. But on the other side for Sentinel, Bailey Casagrande with a little baseline jumper. Sentinel lead cut to 6. They get it up to 6 there off that shot, but then Couture back at it again, keeping Big Sky in it, trailing by 9, but Sentinel, they would just start pouring it on as we got to the latter stages of this game. Another layup here makes it 42-29. They win this one 46-36, and they get the sweep. All right, how about some crosstown basketball in Billings? We didn't forget about you, Magic City. The Golden Dome, Billings West, Billings Senior, second quarter. Bears swing it around to Gabe Hatler. Deep three for the senior, and West goes up one. Still in the second. Chaz Hawes in the open court leaves it for Mellow Pine, who was the best name in the state, and he gets the finish. Senior led by 5 at the break. Second half, Bronx going to throw it down low. The big man, DeMarcus Johnson. Too easy, 6'7", showing the power, finishing through the contact. Senior starting to pull away, but West would make another run. Hatler jumps the pass, and then the two-handed slam on the other end. 3-point game going into the last frame, but Senior does enough. Johnson, beautiful pass to Mellow Pine for the and one. That would seal it for the Bronx. They win 66-62. They just edge out their crosstown rivals. All right, that'll do it for sports. We'll be right back. Welcome into sports. Let's start with some college hoops as the Montana State women's team sitting in a pretty good spot atop the Big Sky at 10-2 in conference play. And they got some good news about one of their top players earlier today. Darian White has been named the co-player of the week in the conference after averaging over 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists per game in wins over Idaho State, Weber State, and Idaho, including a career-high 32 points in their comeback win over the Vandals. All right, let's jump to high school sports now. Time for our Mattress Firm Student of the Week. This week's standout, a leader in more places than just the hallways of Missoula Big Sky High School, as she's helping lead important conversations both on the court and in her community. Meet Cadence Kasher. When she's not leading the Big Sky girls at night or helping to lead the honor song before a crosstown rivalry game, she's helping to bring attention to mental health issues impacting tribal communities across the state.
I'm part of the Warrior Movement, so we go around to schools and we talk to kids and adults at public events and stuff about suicide awareness and just the importance of getting help, how to stay on the right path and stuff like that.
It's really cool to have a kid be a part of that Warrior Movement. I remember when that got started and the traction it's gained. So really proud of her for, bringing that to Big Sky and, rallying kind of her, her heritage, here in Missoula.
Kasher says being part of the movement has made her realize the importance of talking to students from all walks of life can bring.
We're trying to get into the schools more. I'm trying to start one here because most of the work we do is on the reservation. But I want to definitely get into the Missoula community and kind of spread awareness too.
On the court, she's impressed as a freshman, and her head coach says the best things about the way she plays are the same things so many appreciate about her in the community.
Pretty impressive to see, how she matures, responds to adversity, day in and day out, game in and game out. The way she steps up from a leadership and a vocal standpoint is huge for us.
Kasher is dropping buckets on the court and leading important conversations off of it. Welcome back, everyone. Our next Mattress Firm Student of the Week is someone who tries to bring his community joy both on the field on Friday nights and off the field by being a leader when it comes to serving those around him. Wyatt Thomason is a senior captain for the Glacier football team, but he takes more pride in his work off the field in the Kalispell community.
We all want to just kind of take care of ourselves first, but when you see this leader, this starting linebacker who's a really good player doing those things, then you think, yeah, why not? I'll follow along and I'll follow that guy.
Just help how I can, because this community here has given so much, so I just love putting on a show for them on Friday nights.
In theory, community service is something Thomason could pass off to younger players on the team, but for him, it means much more than just showing up out of obligation, something his head coach is well aware of.
It didn't matter if it was just moving on a Saturday for a little old lady or getting involved in something the community was doing. Wyatt was always the first to sign up.
In some ways, there hasn't been a better time for a leader like Wyatt Thomason. He's aware of how the Glacier football team can play a role in helping the community heal from a string of recent youth suicides and help give people something to look forward to when they play on Friday nights.
This community has gone through so much recently, and just seeing all the support that comes to our games and showing how much we can love each other, it means the world to me, because I'm happy we can all come together, because there are people who need help and need love, and that's what this team's here for each other and for everyone.
On the field, Glacier is back in a familiar spot, the Class AA quarterfinals. Win or lose, Thomason knows the team will be ready to take on their next playoff game together.
We're all super tight-knit, and it shows on the field when we're together, getting hype, celebrating. I think we have the best sideline in the state, to being honest. I love coming back to our boys.
The pride of the Wolf is in the pack, and leaders like Wyatt Thomason help bring the pack forward each day. Welcome into sports, everyone. Let's start with some basketball tonight. After splitting their first 2 conference games, the Grizz were back at home to host Air Force. And Air Force standing at attention. As you'd expect, they'd improved to 8-1 if they were to come away from Missoula with a win, taking on the Grizz. Falcons got off to a big start. A.J. Walker knocks down the triple. He had 9 points at the half to lead the Falcons, but they weren't done yet. Watch this. Joseph Octave, little whoop, behind the back. Lucas Borman for 3, cash. Falcons up by 6. What's going on here? But hang on a second, Grizz fans. Octave trying to do it again, and he turns it over, and get ready for the Cameron Parker show. Coast to coast, he's gonna drive in and get the foul, brings Montana back in it. Grizz slowly waking up offensively, and then Brandon Whitney dribbling on the perimeter, he's gonna give it on the wing to Parker again, knocks down the 3. He had 14 in the first half to lead Montana, woke them up a little bit. Montana led by 11 at the half, and they win this one 66-48. Earlier today, the finalists for the Buck Buchanan Award were unveiled, the award given annually to the best defensive player in all of FCS football. And one of those 3 finalists is Grizz linebacker Patrick O'Connell. The Kalispell native made the All-Big Sky first team this year after recording 91 tackles and a conference-high 13 sacks to go with 19.5 tackles for loss. Also credited with 5 QB hurries, 3 forced fumbles, one of which he brought back for a touchdown back against NAU. The last Grizz to win the Buchanan Award, Dante Olson 2 years ago. Former Grizzlies Croy Bierman and Tyrone Holmes have also taken home the honor. Meanwhile, another of the 3 finalists is another Montana native, as Bobcat linebacker Troy Anderson has also made the cut. The Dillon native was already named the Big Sky Defensive Player of the Year. 111 TFLs, 2 sacks, dangerous in coverage as well with 2 picks, 7 pass breakups, and a fumble recovery this year, and a partridge in a pear tree. So while we all know the disdain that Grizz and Cats fans often have for each other throughout the year, but are Grizz fans putting it aside in the spirit of rooting for Montana State in the national championship? They couldn't dare, right? No, but I spoke to Missoulians to find out what is the rooting interest for Saturday's game. So, Cats and North Dakota State, who are you rooting for and why?
Definitely the Bobcats. I love them. I'm a Bobcat fan till I die.
I'm still rooting for them even though I'm a Grizz fan.
Well, not Montana State. I'm a Grizz fan.
I'm rooting for the Cats, even though I would like to watch them lose. It is a Montana team, and my sister's a Bobcat. She went to school there.
Oh, easily the Bobcats. Why? I didn't even know North Dakota State had a football team.
As much as I hate to say it, I would rather see any Montana team win. I wish it was the Grizz, but go Bobcats. Don't hate me for that.
I'm saying North Dakota. I have to say North Dakota. I don't like the Bobcats. I'm a Grizz fan, so.
North Dakota State.
Why the Bison?
I think that helps us in recruiting. I think if Montana State gets too good, then we're going to lose all the top recruits to Montana State.
Rooting for North Dakota State is like rooting for the Yankees used to be.
Cats, for sure, just because they're a Montana team.
I have no idea. I just want to go for the Bobcats since they're the only Montana team.
Well, you know what? There's a lot of Montana kids on that Bobcat, so I'm going to have to root for them.
We're rooting for Montana State because our cousin, Byron Rollins, number 94, he plays on the team. Go Cats.
The play itself came together by the slightest of margins. Here's what Parker, Martin, and head coach Travis DeCure had to say after the win. It had been a back-and-forth game all night between Montana and Weber State. The Grizz held a narrow 2-point lead, but an offensive board allowed Weber to tie things up. With the game ball back, and with 22 seconds left, they started to make their way up court for one last shot.
Play call was initially to set a back screen for JB and let him work, but Weber State recognized it, and right there we were just playing from the fly right there. I seen that my man was asleep, so I backdoored. I know Cam's a great passer, and he's seen it. And I knew it was 1 or 2 seconds left, so I had to get the shot off.
Well, we put Cam in for that reason that, late game, plays break down. The play doesn't always work, and somebody's able to make a play. I knew that they'd be doing some switching, and someone could come open, and Cam's usually the guy that can find that guy.
I was trying to pass it to him a little bit earlier, but I'm glad he made me look good because I passed it to him with 1 second left and he only had one option, and that was to go up. But he said he practices that shot, or he's practiced that shot before, so I'm going to just go with that.
Weber State had one last chance, but the half-court heave went wide. With the win, the Grizz improved to 3-1 in conference play and 10-5 overall.